The thing that I keep going back to is considering the purpose of this plan is to fix her relationship with food. That's one thing to consider. I do not think this is going to help that. I actually worry that this may make things worse. I'm rolling my sleeves up for this one, I think. So, here's the deal. Last time I did a video on Blogilates was actually a few weeks ago. I said I wasn't going to cover again because, in all honesty, I didn't think I was going to cover again. Because I have covered a few times, I didn't really want to cover again. Sometime recently, I got an influx of messages. I think I got about 8 messages within an hour period of her releasing what she has released, saying, Harry, take a look at this. And I was like, okay, I'll have a gander. Had a gander. Then a few people started commenting on the recent video saying, you know what, Harry, you should have a gander at this. And guess what we're doing? You guessed it. We're having a gander. Obviously, I took note that last time the reflection of the screen and the sunglasses wasn't a good vibe. So what we're going to do is sunglasses on for comment question of the week. If you like the video at any point, please let me know by liking the video. 1100 likes in the first 24 hours is the goal, so if we can shoot for that, that will be bloody splendid. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and subscribing to the channel, and maybe even the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. And if you have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below for comment question of the week and I shall do so. It's go time. It's Blogilates time. So obviously 10 years ago or so, Blogilates competed in a bikini competition. Since then she said, you know what, let's go again. It's go time. Not competition, but essentially it seems like she's embarking on a 90-day transformation challenge in which she's going to try and rebuild the muscle that she maybe has lost from where she was a few years ago, but in a healthier and more sustainable manner. You know, good for her. Adopting the approach to make it healthier and more sustainable is huge. We all know it's not always as easy as that, but fingers crossed, in this case it is. That is so bright and I'm so sorry. I am pale enough as it is, and you're watching this and you're thinking, Harry, go outside. You know what, I do go outside, but it's bloody 6 degrees right now and it's cold. The kind of intro stuff is obviously her talking about what she's doing, why she's doing it. View this post on Instagram. Jokes on me, I can't because she's blocked me. I'm going to bring that up every time and I'm never going to let go of it. I'm pretty hurt by it. So here she speaks about obviously 10 years ago she embarked on the bikini journey. Fair play to her, but it led to a path of disordered eating and body dysmorphia, which is extremely unfortunate and quite sad to read. In all honesty, I think it's a lot more common than you might think. I know of a few competitors in both the men's category and the women's category that have come away from competing and said they felt worse about themselves and they developed quite an unhealthy relationship with food, arguably even more unhealthy than their current relationship with food, which may have already been quite unhealthy. But again, it depends on the person, but it is a shame. It's hard because you essentially take yourself to the extreme and you push your body to a place it probably doesn't want to go. So obviously her why is she's going to go on a 90-day journey to muscle, to rectify my unhealthy past and get in the strongest shape of my life on my terms. She's regaining that control of her body, which maybe she feels she has lost. She's going to focus on doing workouts and eating meals that will help me gain muscle and get stronger. So the big thing here is going to be muscle hypertrophy. So that's going to be interesting when we look at the workouts, which we're about to very, very soon. Mentally, I'll focus on sleeping more, fantastic, and decrease my stress levels, also fantastic. Again, easier said than done, but still fantastic things to shoot for. Emotionally, I will journal my entire 90-day journey to muscle and allow myself the freedom to fail, tweak, and try again. That's a big thing. So journaling I think is quite good. It's almost an additional level of like accountability, and also you can just kind of gauge how you feel and kind of compare from day to day. But the fact she's saying she's allowing herself the freedom to fail, tweak and try again, I respect and I appreciate. Progress isn't linear. It does not go like that. There are ups, there are downs, there are plateaus. It's a bit like to be honest. That's that. If there were a graph here, that's what it would look like. Despite how perfectly you do anything, things will get in the way. Life gets in the way. I try and stay pretty consistent with my eating, my training and everything, but sometimes life does get in the way. Sometimes life unfortunately gets too much. The first initial thing I kind of fear, or maybe I'm a bit worried about, so she's setting herself a lot of goals and she's trying to make a really drastic change like that. And the reason why I say I'm almost a bit, not frightened, but I'm a bit worried about that, is because when you try and make so many changes at once, you almost overwhelm yourself with expectations and goals. You came to me and said, Harry, I want to nail my workout, I want to nail my sleep, I want to nail my eating, I want to nail my stress levels, I want to nail all these things, but I want to do it right now. In most cases, I'll probably say to you, look, you choose one and you do it properly. Once you've nailed that, and that's almost become a bit of second nature, it's no longer a novel challenge and you're in a flow, you've got your momentum, you've got your rhythm, then we add in the second one. Then we add in the third one. Then we add in the fourth. We're going to almost like you progressively overload your goals, if that makes sense. So the first thing I'd probably say is that let's know your training first. Let's get a solid plan in place. Let's stick to it for a couple of weeks and let's see how we're feeling from there. Once we've nailed that, you almost notice that other things unintentionally kind of start falling into place. You end up sleeping a bit better, maybe a bit more. You end up eating a bit more appropriate for your goals, things like that. Then you say, okay, we've nailed the training. You're doing well with that. What's your eating looking like? Okay, let's tickle that a bit. Nail that. Now, what's your sleep looking like? Etc. etc. You get the drill. I almost question whether she's biting off more than she can chew. Doing all this at once is more than I could chew personally. So starting stats, she's obviously doing DEXA scan to get an idea of her body fat percentage and muscle mass, all this. I think placing too much value and importance on numbers can actually enhance the unhealthy behaviors that she's trying to maybe correct, because you literally obsess over this number needs to increase, but this number needs to decrease, and this number needs to stay the same. Let's focus less on what the scan says, less on what the numbers say. Let's focus a bit more on two things. Let's focus on how you feel and how you look. Don't stress about the scale weight, don't stress about the DEXA scan stuff. Stress about you and what's going on within you, especially if you're trying to overcome previously unhealthy habits that you may have a tendency to fall back into. You've got a question like, is this gonna push you down the path you're trying to avoid? I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it's a consideration. So before pictures, fine. I think taking pictures before, during, after, fantastic. You can obviously do a comparison between, okay, this is how I looked then, this is how I look now. That's cool. Now this is the good stuff. The bits you've probably been waiting for, the workout plan. We've got 5 resistance training days, it seems, and we've got 2 cardio days, or maybe even 1 rest day. We'll go through the split first, and then we'll go through the exercises. That's how I think we're going to run it. Quads, glutes, and abs, that's a fine workout. That's cool. That's fine. Shoulders, arms, and abs, again, it's fine. Do you need to do abs back to back? Do you need to do abs 4 times in a week? In all honesty, I think if you're trying to optimize the building of muscle, you should train abs like any other muscle group. And would you train any other muscle group 4 days a week? Probably not. If you are able to train it 4 days a week, are you training it well? With sufficient intensity? Do I think she could achieve her results without spending so much time doing cardio, maybe to increasing her daily steps? Probably, to be honest. But again, if you want to do cardio, you do cardio. I don't have a choice. I'd probably put it at the end of like each session. So I'd probably have this as like a full rest day and maybe do 20 minutes of cardio here and 20 minutes of cardio here. So on day 1 and day 4, and just have this as a rest day. Just chill, you know, take time to recover. Day 4, hamstrings, glutes and abs. Again, a lot of ab work. Day 5, chest, back and abs. Again, more ab work. Day 6, glutes and calves. Real lower body focus. We've got glutes 1, 2, 3. Could you train glutes 3 days a week? Probably. But to do so, you will need to adjust the volume and be accommodating of the increased frequency. Let's go through the workouts. I guarantee some of you sat at home right now, and I know you're doing it. You're sat there going, 30-minute run before that. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of exercises. Or 3 sets, 4 sets. That's a lot of sets. That's a lot of volume. So 15s and 20s, no rep range. This is interesting. I know you're doing it. You're assessing it, you're working this out yourself, and I respect it, I appreciate you. 30-minute run, that's cardio. 30-minute run before a session. So considering how big focus is muscle building, is that necessary? Now let's go through the exercises. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 exercises in a day. At most, I would do 7, but realistically, I would probably do 5 or 6. Then we go through the sets. 3 sets, 4 sets. I rarely ever do more than 3 sets on a movement. In most cases, I actually do 2. It's about half and half. Sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do 3. Think about how many reps she's doing here. I know it's ab work, but again, I treat abs like any other muscle group. Ultimately, like I said so many times before, and I will continue saying, so to optimize the building of muscle, you must train to or close to failure. There is little difference regarding muscle building between training to failure and training close to failure, which I believe is about 4 reps in reserve. So anywhere from like 0 reps in reserve to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Little difference in building muscle. Obviously a change in fatigue and stuff, but we're looking at the building of muscle. The reason why I usually say go to failure is because people are notoriously bad at gauging where failure is. They say, oh, I think that was 4 reps in reserve. When in reality, they probably had about 7 or 8 reps in reserve and could have done a lot more. Therefore, they're not in that kind of the green zone, that sweet spot. So no, you don't need to go to failure, but you do need to have a really good understanding of where failure is and how close you are to failure. And like I said so many times before, if you're doing 3 sets of 15 or 4 sets of 20, if you're maintaining the same number of reps throughout 4 sets, you're probably not training with sufficient intensity. So we've got sumo squats, split squats. Even seeing them there upsets me. It hurts me because it's flashbacks. So many of you, since I told you that split squats hurt my heart, have started sending me either split squat memes, videos of people doing split squats, or have been telling me about how you love them or sometimes even hate them. And I feel like you're doing so to trigger that emotional response, because every time I see split squats, my chest, I feel it. It's deep. But no, it's quite funny, so I do appreciate you sending me that stuff. It does make me laugh. Barbell squats, step back lunges each side, weighted glute bridges, alternating front lunges. Ab volume is very low, which is probably where she can justify doing it 4 days a week. But again, I'd condense it to 2 days a week and increase volume. A lot of leg volume. That is excessive leg volume. I think, in all honesty, I would choose 5 exercises. So I'd probably go from this list, I'd probably go barbell squats, glute bridges, split squats. Sometimes those are the only 3 from this list I would really prioritize. And then, to be honest, I'd probably throw in like a leg extension and a leg curl, something along those lines. Just because the day is quad and glute focused doesn't mean you should just eliminate hamstring work entirely. I still would include hamstring work in there, just maybe much less of it. I'll be honest with you, this is excessive and this is quite disappointing. That's all I'm going to say. I think ultimately there's far too many exercises, far too many sets, far too many reps, and the exercise selection is pretty poor, and intensity is likely going to be insufficient. And again, that seems to be pretty consistent. We got shoulder press, fine, lateral raises, front raises. Do you need to do front raises if you're doing the shoulder? So why are you doing the single arm dumbbell row if the emphasis is shoulders, biceps, and triceps? Sure, there are going to be secondary muscles being used, but ultimately if you're trying to place emphasis on something, you would then choose a movement that aligns with the primary function of the muscles you're trying to target. A single arm dumbbell row is going to be more lat focused in most cases, depending on the angle of your upper arm, so don't know what's in there. And the 30-minute run, it seems excessive. I'm not trying to sound rude or be disrespectful, I never am, but in all honesty, when I see things like this, it kind of suggests to me a couple of things. It says, number one, the individual in question maybe isn't as knowledgeable as you would like to think they are. And number two, it shows that the individual in question maybe doesn't keep up to date with how training sciences are changing. This is a kind of a plan I would expect to be pushed by a new personal trainer many years ago. But in this day and age, a lot of things have changed. Again, 30-minute run, 30-minute run, 30-minute run. So she's essentially running 6 days a week. If the goal is building muscle, why is your calorie expenditure so high? Banded hamstring lifts, goblet squats, deadlifts. Again, this order is crazy. Why would you not put deadlifts either first or second after you've warmed up the hamstrings with an isolation movement? Sumo deadlifts as well as conventional deadlifts. Again, that is so excessive. A single leg dumbbell deadlift, the lower back is going to get absolutely battered. Again, provided you're doing this with sufficient intensity, which you would hope she is, considering she wants to build muscle, your lower back is going to be in pieces. And take it from someone who used to train their lower back excessively, which probably contributed to me herniating a disc because I was unable to recover and my technique was a bit whack at the time as well. Honestly, be careful. Of all the days, this is probably the least disappointing day I've seen thus far. There are no movements in which there is a rep range. It is a given rep number. There's no 15 to 20, 12 to 20, 6 to 8. It's all towards a high rep. There's nothing less than 12 reps, it seems. We know we can grow in all rep ranges, and there's nothing about the range, so you obviously go into failure, you can be a bit more flexible. Okay, I didn't get 15, but the rep said 12 to 15, therefore I'm still in my target range, all that stuff. If you're looking at this plan, I'm going to say from a professional perspective and from the perspective of somebody who actually cares about you, please don't do this. In all honesty, like I said, the volume is excessive, the sets and reps are not ideal, the exercise selection is pretty bad, the exercise order is also pretty bad, the excessive amount of cardio, considering it's meant to be a muscle building program, is just completely counterproductive unless the food intake accommodates for that, which I know it doesn't. I've seen what's below. This is an open offer to Blogilates. You don't even have to unblock me for this. I will embark on this 90-day journey with you from day 1 to day 90, and I will coach you completely free. Training, form analysis, everything. You don't even have to tell anyone about it. It can be a secret. I really would rather you not embark on this journey, considering how I think this is extremely counterproductive and potentially detrimental to your health. First of all, considering your mental health, which is a concern, especially considering the purpose of this plan is not only to build muscle, but to fix your relationship with food and training, but also for your physical health. This is not optimal training. This is not close to optimal training. I think in all honesty, you may well be disappointed with the results, and I feel like you could achieve a lot more doing a lot less and feeling a lot better about yourself, and hopefully building a much healthier relationship with training in the process. You message me, you email me, whatever it is, you don't have to tell a soul about it, and I won't either. But I will coach you for 90 days, and I will do my best to get you to where you want to be in the healthiest and most sustainable means possible. So hopefully we can learn a thing or two from each other along the way, because I'd love to know more about why you were choosing things, because maybe there's room for me to learn, and maybe I'm approaching this from a completely different perspective, and maybe my perspective is too narrow-minded. Who knows? I'm open-minded, I'm willing to learn, and willing to hear and understand. The food. So you talk about how protein intake should wants at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. Fair, respect that. I think it's a very basic and simple kind of approach to things. People often say at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. She's kind of gone in the middle with 150, so probably about 1.25 or so. 1,500 calories a day. considering she is doing over 3 hours of cardio a week, as well as excessive volume in her training. Even the rest day is an active recovery day, which in fairness, my rest day would probably be an active recovery day as well. In all honesty, I would have 2 rest days, 100%, and they would both be active recovery, where you just walk. Not strenuous, you keep moving it, steps in, love to see it. So a lot of calorie expenditure, and that calorie intake is in all honesty, is quite low. I'm glad she says she'll tweak it next week, based on how she's feeling. I think it needs to be tweaked now, quite heavily. The thing that I keep going back to is, considering the purpose of this plan is to fix her relationship with food, that's one thing to consider. I do not think this is going to help that. I actually worry that this may make things worse. You gotta have some freedom. You gotta have some fun with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to structure things like this. I personally like following if it fits your macros, like flexible dieting, because I have like my macro numbers. With the 2 ones I really focus on, I focus mainly on my calories and my protein. Carbs and fats, I just try and do my best, but I have an idea of where I want them to be. But that gives me so much freedom to eat the foods I want to eat, and I fully acknowledge that is probably not the healthiest way to approach things, and arguably is definitely a sign of disordered eating. I'm quite a routine guy. I like structure. I'm a bit like that. I love organisation. I find it quite sustainable for me, so it works for me. Sure, if this works for her, then great, fantastic. I just question that, is it really going to work for her? Because like I said, I do think this is going to really promote an unhealthy relationship with food, even more so than she may already have, and even more so than she may have had 10 years ago. You don't need to eat like this to achieve your goals. The protein intake is cool. I respect that. The calorie number is not cool. I don't think I respect that. The food plan, it looks very bodybuilder to me. If that's what you want to do, that's how you want to eat, fine. I respect it. Who am I to judge? I'm not. It is actually genuinely worrying. I do not know Blogilates personally. I probably never know her personally. But I think from somebody externally who has expressed concerns about her before and her approaches to training and eating, I am very concerned for how this is going to impact her physically and mentally. The approach she's taking with the training and the diet, I think it can really risk developing an unhealthy relationship with both of those things. She's eating like she's in a very aggressive bodybuilder deficit, especially considering how much activity she's doing. I can never say for certain because I do not know her body and all sorts, but that is most likely not healthy, nor is it sustainable. I genuinely do question and am expressing concern of how much damage that could do to her. Although I really want her to succeed, I will not be surprised if the outcome is more negative than expected. I will also not be surprised if she doesn't complete the 90 days. I think she's bitten off more than many people could chew. I think she's approached things in a questionable and concerning manner. I think a lot of things need to be adjusted for this to be more achievable and realistic. And as I've said before, I am offering to do that for her completely free, because in all honesty, I want her to do well. I want her to succeed. I want her to redevelop her relationship in a healthy manner with both food and training, and I want her to be happy. A lot of people are going to see this, although she does express, which I appreciate, this is for her and her only and no one should copy it. I think a lot of people are going to copy it. And even if they don't copy it, they're going to see what she's doing regarding how much volume she's doing, how she's training, and how much she's eating, and think, okay, well, I'm not going to do exactly what she's doing, but this is how much she's doing and how much she's doing here. Maybe I could do similar but my own way. That really is a problem. I'm definitely going to revisit this at the end of the 90 days and talk about it and see how she's responded to it, because I'm curious to know what happens. I wish her all the best and I appreciate what she's trying to do, but I'm just expressing concern, and like I said, I'll try and do what I can to help should she ever want me to. That is so disappointing. That's such a shame. But now we shall crack on with comment question of the week. Everything is so yellow, but I feel pretty fly right now. So this is actually following on from the question from last week. My gym doesn't have a hack squat machine. What do you think about the landmine hack squat? Is it just as good as the real hack squat? Yeah, the landmine hack squat is fine. It works. Is it as good as the machine hack squat? Probably not. But is it a good movement? Absolutely. But also don't feel like you have to do a hack squat variation. Like I said, I spoke about the split squat before. You can alter it in a manner that makes it a lot more quad biased. And I got this from JPG as well. Put your back foot elevated about 6 to 8 inches. Your front foot as you would a normal split squat. But elevate the heel, which allows for a lot more knee flexion, so further knee travel and you get a bit deeper as well. Therefore bringing the quads a bit more and allowing you to lengthen the quads a bit more. That is it. That is a video. If you like the video, let me know you like the video by dropping a like on the video. 1100 likes in the first 24 hours is the goal. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and subscribing to the channel, and maybe even the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. And if you too have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below for comment question of the week and I shall do so. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my delayed sunglasses to prevent the reflection. And thank you for tolerating yet another Blogilates video.